News!
Okay, we'll start with this. Taking a break from recapping all this weekend's action, spending a little bit more time on this weekend's Discord, reacting to the sellout crowd for what was the Han versus Holm fight. Claressa Shields took to her social media and said, well, it's only 5,000 people, LOL. Of course it's sold out.
You know she's always got to take her time out to be a fucking bitch.
To rain on any woman's parade that might be doing good in the sport of women's boxing because Claressa feels she's in competition with all of them. There were a lot of women boxing on that show who have never said an ill word about Claressa Shields. Women from all around the world, anywhere from Mexico to Argentina to Costa Rica, Germany.
Fuck them, right?
Because they're with MVP, and you don't like MVP. I highlighted this in a tweet.
That Claressa is a piss-poor ambassador for the women because she's always taking shots at them and she seldom ever celebrates what are their accomplishments. To which the same usual 8-pack of jackasses responded,
You know, there's always an army of simps looking to justify Claressa Shields' obnoxious behavior. One who goes by the name Dante's Shoes said, so you're just going to ignore the fact that Serrano's been talking for the past week.
Talking about what?
I didn't see Amanda Serrano say anything about Claressa Shields, if I'm honest. If she did, I must have missed it, or it must not have been that big a deal. Another one of the usual suspects who goes by the name LW Cash said, she gets slandered all the time, but the minute she claps back it's an issue. Just say y'all don't like her.
I don't like her, and I say that all the time.
But what the fuck does that have to do with her shading her contemporaries? She's not responding to anybody. Nobody was talking to her or talking about her.
They always paint it to where she's clapping back at somebody or clapping back for something when the original post was about Han versus Holm II selling out. What the fuck does that have to do with Claressa?
Nothing.
They just frame it that way so they can try and justify why she's always acting like an awful bitch.
Another Twitter user who goes by the name Adiradondak's Finest said, Shields sells out. She's one of the few boxers that do that at home, male or female.
I didn't realize she was the one fighting yesterday, that we're supposed to spend all this time on her.
That said, they did $50 GA for all the uppers, $1,000 to $2,000 for the best seat in the arena. Never confuse selling out and the gate.
For a perspective, we're talking about a sellout crowd for a women's boxing match on a card where it's mostly women. I would say that's an accomplishment.
Whenever two women or a group of women can get out there and sell out an arena with what is mostly a women's boxing show, that's good news. That's encouraging towards the further development of the sport as a genuine attraction. But you'd never know it when Claressa's around or her fans because they're gonna make it all about her when she wasn't the one fighting yesterday.
She's a glory hog, always looking to steal somebody else's thunder. It's what she does. If Alicia Baumgartner does a photo shoot to promote her upcoming fight, what does Claressa do a week later? A photo shoot of her own. To promote herself, I guess.
If Stephanie Hahn and Holly Holm sell out in El Paso, Texas, what does she do?
Poo-poo on the event.
What do her fans do?
Start talking about how Claressa Shields sells more when I don't remember Stephanie Hahn or Holly Holm ever claiming that they're a bigger draw than Claressa Shields.
Seiza One's in the main event. The justification for all these shots they're taking at MVP's latest card is on the premise that Amanda Serrano was on it. Amanda Serrano, who responded by saying, it's actually 7,200, but all good. We sold out what we had. I'm in no competition with her or anyone. I'm just trying to leave this sport better than when my sister and I did it.
Oh yeah, because Amanda's a real ambassador for the sport and Claressa is little more than a glory hog. Don't confuse her personal accomplishments and accolades as her elevating the sport for anyone. The only one she's trying to elevate is herself, constantly aggrandizing herself when some other group of girls are doing something in the sport.
Glorifying herself constantly at the expense of everybody else.
It's all about stealing any and every woman's thunder that might be making waves in the sport of boxing.
Don't use her rift with MVP as a means to justify her obnoxious behavior, because if there is a rift between them, she's the one that started it. Over 5 years ago when she started taking shots at Jake Paul unprovoked.
He had never said a word about her up until she starts threatening to knock him out.
So when MVP finally starts taking the gloves off and responds to her shitty fucking behavior, she's supposed to be the victim? That's what this 8-pack of jackasses would have you believe. This same army of simps
that behave more like bots.
the way they readily respond to any post detailing her behavior. They get mad at you for pointing it out, and frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if one or some of these accounts are Claressa's burners.
Alt accounts.
Because remember, this is the same woman who not but a few months ago called into some guy's show pretending to be someone else. So the idea that she might have made one or some different Twitter accounts to argue with people online, that's right up her alley.
I wouldn't put it past her.
Another bot account that goes by the name Way Too High said she's right. 5,000 isn't breaking records ticket sales-wise, is it?
Well, that particular fight at that particular arena broke the record for the most tickets sold for a boxing match, if we're going to be categorical.
If we're going to be categorical, Claressa Shields is not the biggest draw in women's boxing. She doesn't hold any records for that. Katie and Amanda hold the record for that. They jointly hold the record for the most watched women's boxing match in the history of women's boxing.
The number 1 spot.
And the number 2 spot with what was their third meeting, all of which have garnered more views than the entirety of Claressa Shields' boxing career, if you want to get categorical. If you want to get categorical, it was supposed to be a big deal that she signed an $8 million contract for 2 years, when Claressa and Amanda made more than that off of one fight.
Just one.
Because Claressa is neither the most watched woman boxer or the highest paid, if you're going to get categorical, while we're pointing out matters of fact.
Okay, it's a matter of fact that Claressa sells more than Stephanie Hahn and Holly Holm.
Well, it's a matter of fact that Katie and Amanda are more popular than her, get paid more than her, and are more watched than her.
It's a matter of fact that she's an obnoxious bitch that most people don't like, and at this point, you're begging people to look the other way for what is her obnoxious behavior.
You may as well be begging people to like her, because if you like her so much, why do you spend so much time online arguing about it?
The way they flock over to any post on social media like a swarm of locusts.
What do you need me to like this obnoxious bitch so much for? It's not gonna work.
She's awful.
She's fucking miserable, and I wouldn't be at all surprised to find out that one or some of these bot accounts that are constantly doing this are Claressa in disguise. Because this is the same woman that called into somebody's show pretending to be somebody else. That's how much time she's got on her hands, and that's how insecure she is.
Why don't you go bake papusa lasagna and shut the fuck up?
Who fucking cares whatever she sold, what she sold when she fought whoever the fuck it was she fought, because she wasn't the one fighting yesterday?
We supposed to make everything about her?
Or she's still mad that she got banned from all MVP events moving forward because she's the one showed up, started some shit with one of their fighters. Get a fucking life.
The way this jackass likes to burn bridges, it's hard to imagine she'll ever box on a major platform like Netflix or make the kind of money that Katie and Amanda have been making, because she's just an obnoxious bitch.
Men's cruiserweight news, a second look at the WBC's recent order for Noel Mikhailian to fight David Benavidez at a time where he was negotiating to fight Jai Opataya. The Ring's Mike Coppinger first reported the news on Friday. It is rare for a champion to be ordered by a sanctioning body to face a champion from another sanctioning body, but it occurred in part because Benavidez's handlers petitioned the WBC on his behalf.
It occurred because the WBC has been colluding with David Benavidez from the moment he debuted as a light heavyweight, and they've been colluding ever since.
BoxingScene.com reported earlier Friday that Mikhailian was in talks to face Ring Magazine and Zuffa champion Jai Opataya later this year. The WBC could allow Mikhailian to move forward with defending his title against Opataya if Benavidez, who also holds the WBC light heavyweight title, moves back down from cruiser to challenge Ring Magazine, IBF, WBA, and WBO light heavyweight champion Dmitry Bivol.
We can scratch that idea, because if he were gonna do that, he wouldn't be suggesting that they fight at 190-pound catchweight and simultaneously petitioning the WBC to fight Noel Mikhailian, if it really were his intention, and within his ability, to get back down to light heavyweight.
If you tell a guy who's campaigning at 175, why don't we fight at 190, you're basically asking him to fight you at cruiserweight.
15 pounds above the cruiserweight limit. Who's that supposed to accommodate?
So now they've ordered Noel Mikhailian to satisfy David as his mandatory challenger with an interim champion already installed.
More evidence of collusion.
Poland's own Mikhail Cieslak was already interim champion before David even debuted as a cruiserweight. But it's David getting the shot ahead of that guy.
More evidence of collusion.
Mikhailian of Yerevan, Armenia regained his WBC title when he beat Badu Jack by UD in what was their rematch in December of last year in LA. Jack won their initial meeting by majority decision in May of that same year in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Mikhailian, 35, is the ring's number 5 cruiserweight. The ring ranks Benavidez first among its light heavyweight and cruiserweight contenders and 5th on its pound-for-pound list. The 29-year-old of Phoenix, Arizona, became a unified cruiserweight champion with a dominant 6th-round knockout of Gilberto Ramirez at the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. And rest assured, he's not going anywhere. He's not going back down.
But he's not fighting Jai Opetaia either. So they came up with this. Sweep the rug from under Jai Opetaia with a frivolous order for a champion to unify with another. It wouldn't be the first time the WBC ordered such a fight, but it would be the first time they threatened to strip one of their own champions for non-compliance.
You know, because when they ordered Gary to fight Leo years ago, they didn't threaten to strip Gary if the fight doesn't happen like they're threatening to strip Noel Mikhailian. They're doing everything in their power to get that green and gold title in David Benavidez's hands.
And it's all to no avail. They're trying very hard to push and promote this guy so that he can become a marquee attraction unto himself. But chicanery, in and of itself, does not create a buzz. You think anybody out there right now really wants to pay $75.99 to see David fight an even lesser-known fighter than Zerto, an even lesser-known, less capable fighter than Jai Opetaia?
This was adequately summarized by Joe Habib, friend to the channel, who said, translation: David once again doesn't want to fight the number 1 guy in the division he's in, which seems to be a pattern. If that's what he wants to do, that's fine. But don't expect people to believe him when he says he wants to fight the best. If he wants people to keep illegally streaming his fights, then go ahead and keep following this formula. It's his choice.
If they want to keep having to hide David Benavidez's pay-per-view numbers under cloak and dagger, since they never even report a ballpark figure for what his fights do, and he's been on pay-per-view 5 times.
If you want to keep hyping up the same group of people who don't really even buy David Benavidez's fights anyway, and they care more about drama and discord than boxing matches,
they care more about trolling on the internet than actual boxing matches, because they're not actual customers. Or do you think these idiots that spend all day online defending David, you think they're buying his fights? I've probably bought more of his fights than they have.
But they're the only ones that really seem to be impressed with David Benavidez and justify what he's doing when all he's doing is actively freezing out Jai Opetaia, who is still this division's Ring Magazine lineal champion.
We can mull over the names and dates, pull up the articles, and pull up the sound bites.
Discuss the reasons as to why certain fights didn't happen in certain weight classes at certain times, but it all results in the same thing. The same thing that Jay Habib is pointing out.
David doesn't want to fight the best. He just says that on podcasts.
But he never actually does it. It never actually happens. And when it happens, it's always supposed to be somebody else's fault. When it's an established pattern with him.
You can't say that Canelo doesn't have a history of fighting the best. He always fights the best. You can't say that about Artur. You can't say that about Dimitri. You can't even say that about Jai.
And what do they all have in common? They've all been Ring Magazine and lineal champions, a status you can't get unless you fight the best. Whereas David...
No, you can't get the Ring Magazine or lineal title by colluding with the alphabets.
They can't email it to you. You have to go in there and you have to fight for it against the best. And maybe that's why he's never held it.
He probably never will.
This active effort to convince people that David Benavidez is the best in show, or that he's this feared fighter that nobody wants any parts of, it's not working. In the absence of actual legacy, the only consolation is the money you're making, and he's not making much of that, because what do you expect this guy to sell with a little-known Armenian at a price point of $75.99 during the holiday season? They're talking about doing this in November. When? Right before Thanksgiving?
Not a good idea.
And for a fight that nobody was asking for. There is a cruiserweight in the division that people would like to see David Benavidez fight, but it's not this guy, and that's reality. For a fighter who insists on fighting on pay-per-view exclusively, you don't even sell that many pay-per-views. If you were actually doing in the neighborhood of 250 to 300,000 buys, don't you think we would have heard about it by now? When Errol Spence Jr. was doing those numbers, they couldn't shut the fuck up about it. When Wilder did those numbers with Tyson Fury, in what was their first fight, they were shouting it from the rooftops, whereas with David...
Where's the numbers?
Can't stress this enough that a couple of super bantamweights halfway around the world in Japan fought the same day as David, and we got their numbers before we got David's.
Why's everything gotta be so cloak and dagger with David's metrics if he's the new face of boxing, as some people say?
The sport of boxing now is more international than it's ever been, to where these Americentric perspectives simply won't fly. If you're the new face of boxing, Inoue shouldn't be doing better numbers than you are.
Fury, AJ, Usyk, they shouldn't be making more money than you do. Canelo, in your own market.
If you're the new face of boxing, he shouldn't be making that much more money than you do, because when you're the face of boxing, you generate the most. Thus, you earn the most. And this guy doesn't. The shit's not working. The reason they're giving that he shouldn't fight Jai Opataya is because Jai's over there at Zuffa.
So what?
Nobody's asking David to go to Paramount or to go fight for Zuffa. You can fight him on one of Turkey's shows. Isn't that what the offer was? The offer that you turned down to go chase around this guy. This guy nobody knows.
We should pay you $75.99 to see it, though.
It's not working. Through chicanery, you can get a guy in position to fight for a title, and you can even email that guy the title. But what you can't do is create a buzz.
It's gotta be organic.
People have got to believe it, and believe in the fighter before they decide to reach for their wallets to pay to see that guy fight. And with David, it's very obvious that the ends are not justifying the means. He's not creating enough of a buzz with these fights, with these pay-per-views, because he's not fighting the best. And it's getting more and more noticeable. Your light heavyweight campaign only lasted 3 fights, none of which were with the best light heavyweights.
And now you're doing the same thing at cruiser, because nobody thought Zerto was the best cruiser. Nobody thinks it's Noel. We all know who it is. Guy you rejected.
But you can keep doing this. The only people getting excited about it are the people that steal fights, the people that fire up their fire sticks the night of a big pay-per-view. You're not attracting customers with any of this shit.
Jerry Soriano tagged me to another one of his posts on Twitter. I don't know for what, and I don't know why.
I didn't even bother to read it, because these David Benavidez fans relish these back-and-forth exchanges as a means to amuse themselves. While he doesn't fight the people want him to fight.
We all know who those people are.
To be a fan of David involves a level of cognitive dissonance that borders on a full-time job. The way they always have to explain what's going on. Why isn't he fighting this guy? Why'd he do this? Why'd he do that?
And why we're supposed to be okay with it.
Jay Habib said it best. He's noticed the pattern. A lot of other people have too. No matter what weight David campaigns in, he never fights the best. Now across 3 weight classes, that can't be by accident. That's by design.
But do what you like. It's a free country, and it's your prerogative, though just know, it's not selling pay-per-views. It's not having the desired effect.
It's not working.